Hollywood is hardly the best place to look for rock-solid relationships. Movie stars seem to marry and divorce at the drop of a hat. But that's not the case of Jeremy Irons and his wife of 33 years. The reason for the couple's marital success? Apparently they have an open relationship.
The concept has been around in one way, shape, or form for generations and has been popularized in a recent book called Sugar Babe by 40-something Australian Holly Hill. In it, she suggests that women should let their partners cheat as long as the wives negotiate the rules. Hill allows her boyfriend of 2 years to bed whomever he wants as long as he doesn't sleep over, take romantic weekends, or spoon with his partner.
Yeah, spooning would be, that would be a deal breaker. Joining us in studio is Theo Sellis. He's a family therapist for close to 20 years. And in Toronto, we have Valerie Gibson, Square Off's resident social commentator. Val, do you really think that open relationships, such as the one we just mentioned, work equally for both partners?
No, I don't. I have met many people over the years who have been in open marriages, and for a time they have a jolly good time, as the English say, and then it all comes to nothing because one of them falls in love or meets someone they feel that they would like to settle with. The human condition is such that the man, no matter how much variety he wants, still wants his partner to be faithful, and she equally these days wants a partner who will be faithful to her. It is the basic premise of human relationships. And so, yes, for a time, everybody has a great old time, but it just does not work in the long run. For Jeremy Irons, I'm not quite sure why it did, but that is very unusual.
Yeah, well, he's walking around now telling people he should be able to pat women's bums, but that's another matter entirely.
He's a little out of date, isn't he?
Yeah, Theo, aren't those who suggest open relationships are the way to go really just setting themselves up for an eventual breakup?
I think one thing I will say about open relationships, as the Sugar Babe author advocated, is this negotiated infidelity, is at least with the open relationships, there is honesty and an upfront, mutually discussed approach by both parties, which surely beats the lying and the deception and the behind the back behavior that are associated with affairs. So at least on that part, there's some potential for people being able to salvage their relationship and be able to have a meaningful with each other and explore some variety before, as Val suggested, it all falling apart.
But it's not, so it's not cheating then. I mean, if the couple discusses it ahead of time, right, it can't be considered cheating. Nor is it lying because you're supposedly upfront about anything. And I would think that in certain special relationships, Theo, correct me if I'm wrong, but in certain special relationships, maybe the man and or the woman feel better that at least they know, and they don't have to wonder. He's coming home late. I wonder if he's seeing someone. Get it all out in the open, and perhaps you don't have to worry about those things. And that wouldn't work for me, but I could see it working for certain people.
Well, the thing about the thing that's most harmful about the lying and the cheating and the affairs is oftentimes not just the behavior, it's the whole experience of knowing something's going on with your partner, knowing that it's happening, feeling that it's happening, asking your partner, is it happening, isn't it happening, having it denied, and then later on finding out that it was. And so you go through this process of not being able to trust yourself and your own kind of insight, and also not being able to trust other people again. So it's really that whole kind of cheating and lying experience that is really most devastating in infidelity.
Val, go ahead.
Why have a partner? I mean, today there's friends with benefits. And that is basically negotiated infidelity, if you like. That means your friend, not necessarily your marital partner, can have whatever sexual partner he likes, but you're still very good friends. That's exactly it. So why bother with a marriage? Why bother with a partner? If you wish to be single and have lots of partners, why not? I don't see the idea of getting married and then negotiating infidelity. To me, it's counterintuitive to the whole situation. You much rather, surely nowadays, as lots of people have booty calls or friends with benefits, and this is much more today's activity sexually, not so much perhaps for the older folk, although I'm not so sure about that.
You know, I don't know what the swinging community is like these days, although I did come into contact with them in a professional sense on a number of various talk shows that I produced, and I found a number of them to be well-rounded. Their marriages were certainly comfortable. They got along well. They seemed to have no problems, very open and communicating, and yet they were clearly having sex with other people on a continuing basis. How is an open
together they're having sex. They're not going elsewhere.
Sometimes.
This is swinging is done mostly in groups and in clubs. Very rare. If generally most clubs have rules, if you like, negotiated infidelity.
What kind of rules, Val?
They have rules. Well, if you are coming to this club, that you don't go away with the other person to another place permanently. You know, there's none of that. It has to be all together. And yes, they have rooms, they have situations and so on, where you can have sex with the people within that club or within that group. But that is swinging. But that is not the general life outside. It has its own rules and regulations and its own, funnily enough, its own morals. And that's probably why the people do stay together, because they do know what's going on, who with and how often and at what time and all the other things. There's a terrific mutual understanding, and they're both doing it at the same time.
Right. Theo, we've got about 30 seconds. If trust is the basis for a strong marriage, can you still have that trust in an open relationship?
I think it's really, really hard to do. I think initially it's exciting, and it seems like a common sense solution to the need for variety. I mean, who wants to imagine eating the same flavor of ice cream for the next 50 years, let alone having sex with the same partner for 50 years?
Interesting analogy.
But in the long run, it's probably safer to see if you can get some of that variety within your own relationship. You know, go out and get some movies, buy some toys, get a little kinky with each other. It's probably a safer and better way of going about it, because your feelings are bound to get connected with another person that you're swinging with. Insecurities and jealousies are bound to come up. So I think it's much better to try to avoid that and have variety within your relationship.
Interesting recommendation. That's Theo Sellis and Valerie Gibson joining us as well. Thank you both for your participation today.